This week on Africa Weekly, we visit Somalia's first dairy factory and we look at the dangers of skin whitening creams popular across the African continent. But first, here's a look at the stories that made the headlines this week. Robert Mugabe's former right-hand man, Emmerson Mnangagwa, has been declared the winner of Zimbabwe's presidential election with 50.8% of the vote. The opposition MDC alliance, whose candidate Nelson Chamisa obtained 44.3% of the votes, has rejected the result, denouncing the poll as fake.
They are fake, they are not authentic, we're not part of it. Those are really figures from ZEC. So as far as we're concerned, we reject them, we don't respect them, and we can pronounce today that the elections were fraudulent because of that.
The centre of the capital, Harare, was deserted as results were announced with a strong military presence on the streets. On Wednesday, 6 people were killed during clashes with police at an opposition protest.
We denounce the violence and the vandalism that took place, but at the same time we denounce the excessive use of force by the security agencies.
Brought to power by the coup that ended Robert Mugabe's 37-year reign, Mnangagwa has promised a new beginning for the country. However, many fear a continuation of the existing regime. Now on to presidential elections in Mali, where outgoing President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta came top of the first round of the country's presidential election, followed by opponent Soumaïla Cissé with 17.8% of the vote. The opposition has contested the results, which they say were irregular. With neither candidate securing 50% of the vote, the contest goes to a second round.
These are the results of fraud, of shameful ballot stuffing in favour of the outgoing President of the Republic. They are the result of major irregularities and deliberate violations of the electoral law. These are manipulated results. We will not accept them.
Several candidates have already pledged their support to Cissé, who hopes to form an anti-IBK front. The two men will meet again on the 12th of August for the runoff. And sticking with elections, voters in Comoros overwhelmingly backed controversial constitutional reforms that would allow President Azali Assoumani to run for another term, following a referendum boycotted by the opposition. The Indian Ocean archipelago has a long history of instability and risks renewed unrest after Assoumani banned demonstrations and the opposition called Monday's vote illegal. Former DR Congo warlord and ex-Vice President Jean-Pierre Bemba filed Thursday his candidacy in the Congolese presidential election due to take place in December. The announcement comes a day after his triumphant return to the country, having spent the past decade behind bars in The Hague.
Listen, for us it is first and foremost a popular celebration. It's a family holiday, a national holiday. The Congolese people here have the opportunity to express their sympathy to their brother, their leader. For us it is a popular celebration, a mark of confidence that the Congolese people have shown to us, Jean-Pierre Bemba.
Another rival of President Joseph Kabila, exiled opposition leader Moise Katumbi, also hoped to put forward his candidacy but was banned from entering the country. President Kabila, who has promised to respect the constitution by standing down after serving 2 terms, has yet to name a successor. Flowers were laid outside the Central House of Russian Journalists in Moscow after 3 Russian journalists were killed in car. They were investigating the activities of a private Russian army in the country known as the Wagner Group. It's described as Russia's shadow army operating in many of the world's hotspots, including Syria. Analysts say Moscow uses the company to downplay military activity in countries such as Syria and Ukraine and discount casualties. August marks the beginning of Women's Month in South Africa. The Total Shutdown movement aims to bring the economy to a complete standstill, to raise awareness of women's rights and demand sustainable action against gender-based violence through a total shutdown march to union buildings to hand in a memorandum.
Well, we are tired as women of the violence that this country visits upon us. You know, the people in power don't seem to care. The women are being raped, women are being killed every day in their homes, in the streets. We get harassed all the time, and it's time for things to change. Our bodies are not your crime scene.
After 25 years in exile in Britain, Abdulkadir Mohamed Salad has returned to Somalia, where he is taking on the challenge of popularizing fresh cow's milk. The entrepreneur is braving the constant threat of terrorist attacks in Mogadishu to launch his factory.
One of our main challenges is insecurity. Sometimes my van can't deliver milk to customers because security forces block the streets for security reasons.
The Irman Dairy factory pasteurizes and packs 2,000 liters of milk per day. In Somalia, powdered cow's milk and camel's milk are preferred over fresh cow's milk, which is generally considered unhealthy. But Salad is ready to change his compatriots' eating habits.
Fresh milk is very good. Our customers are starting to consume it. When we place an order, the milk is delivered on time, and the owners of this company are very involved with the local community.
The factory buys its milk from other companies in Mogadishu that raise cows like these and produce their own yogurt. For the herd's owner, business is going rather well.
At the beginning, we brought 6 cows, but now we have 54. Some were bought and others were born here. We now produce 600 litres a day.
These entrepreneurs aim to popularize fresh cow's milk and encourage local production rather than imports, all the while boosting the local economy. Irman Dairy has already anticipated the increase in demand for dairy products and would soon like to increase its production 5-fold. It's a daily ritual. For 7 years, Toyin has been using a skin bleaching cream. She says it gives her a clear complexion and protects her from the sun. But over time, her skin has become irritated and dark spots have appeared.
This particular cream is okay because if you use other creams, you might get sunburnt. Since I started using this cream, people have been complimenting me. My skin isn't too dark or too light. I keep my natural complexion.
In Africa, the business of skin bleaching is booming despite a growing Black Pride movement championing natural beauty. Women and men buy creams that lighten the skin by reducing the production of melanin. The price of a jar of cream ranges from 2 to 50 euros and can be found everywhere on the continent.
From the poorest to the middle class and to the rich class, they all, a good number of them bleach. In my last research, I found out that when you go to the marketplaces, 6 out of 10 bleach.
Many countries have banned the creams, some of which contain harmful ingredients, including hydroquinone, steroids, lead, and mercury. But high demands has led to a booming black market that is almost impossible to regulate. The side effects can lead to skin cancer.
You start to affect not only the upper layers of the skin, but you also affect the deeper layers of the skin to such an extent that at a particular point the whole process becomes reversed. You get much darker areas of the skin, and eventually the skin is destroyed to such an extent that only laser surgery or resurfacing surgery.
The latest trend in skin whitening is by injecting or taking pills that contain glutathione. This antioxidant, used to treat cancer, lightens the skin and is said to be a safer alternative than the creams. It is not illegal, but the long-term effects are still unknown, meaning skin bleaching remains a risky business.
Sport now, and current and former NBA, WNBA and FIBA players gathered at the American International School of Johannesburg for the opening ceremony of Basketball Without Borders.
It's always great to be back in the continent. I'm always back in the continent here working, but basketball without borders is special to me, and because it's one of the things 16 years ago I did not dream would be this big. In terms of giving back to the kids, you hope they take something out of this, you know, like back home.
That's all for us this week on Africa Weekly. Until next week.